Welcome to the Cowtown Cats Lacrosse Podcast, where we talk all things Panther City Lacrosse Club. Now here are your hosts, Nicholas and Andy.
Well, the final matchup on this 5-game road stretch came with Panther City's biggest test so far this year, taking on the division-leading San Diego Seals. Welcome everyone to the Cowtown Cats Lacrosse Podcast. I am Nicholas, joined by Andy.
Hello.
Yeah, San Diego came into this game with only one loss, so Panther City had their work cut out for them, but they were hoping to get an upset and jump up a few spots in the standings. Unfortunately, as we've said before, the Seals have a very strong offense and a very strong defense this year, so they were going up against a team, that really was looking their part as division leaders, going into this game. I mean, both of us were hoping for an upset, and I think we have some good things and some bad things to talk about this game.
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves, really. Yeah, it just ended up not going our way in the end. But yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, before we get the game started, there were a few interesting transactions. I mean, not transactions, but a few interesting things before game time. It seems like Panther City had a few key pieces out this game. What were we missing this game for sure?
Yeah, so we actually didn't, since we saw the game live at our watch party at Boomerjacks, we didn't have any confirmation until I watched the replay. But Callum Crawford is on the short-term holdout list I'm not sure what the specifics there are there, but so we were missing Crawford, who's obviously a big key addition. And Tony Malcolm on transition and Phil Caputo were late scratches as well. Malcolm we might have known about, but Caputo was definitely a surprise. So missing those three key contributors to our offenses, it hurt any team, but we certainly felt it over the weekend.
Well, yeah, and they've all become. I mean, obviously Crawford's still getting used to the team in itself. But, Caputo for sure, I mean, he's been a key piece of their, the whole team from the get-go. So it was just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should look deep into it and, start making guesses as to why they were healthy scratches last minute. Hopefully it's nothing, against the team or anything like that. I don't think that, but you never know. I mean, there's obviously many reasons to be a last-minute scratch like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of suspect that Coach TK might have tried to give other guys a look. I know Fox wasn't able to play last game, so it was nice to see him get some minutes. Dean Farrell played a little more, so who knows? But in any case, we kept it competitive, or eventually got to a point where it was competitive.
Right. Well, and yeah, speaking of that, so, I mean, the game started, and we were in familiar territory, I hate to say. Right off the bat, within the first 5 minutes, we were down we were down 3-0, and I don't know, this is what, the third or fourth game this year that we've started a game down 2 or 3 goals, and it's like, well, I understand the defense needs a little bit to get going, but it's becoming a trend here, and a trend that I don't really like.
Yeah, the last three have really, even though the 2 games before this one were wins, it's something that you don't really want to get into that habit of not playing up to your best unless you're facing a deficit, because eventually time's going to run out on you. So it's not a great trend. It's something that hopefully we can correct going forward.
Right, and we'll talk about it later, but something hopefully we can get back, and do a little bit better job on, especially when they're coming home this next weekend. But yes, we were down, 3-0, and then we finally got a goal by Gaucher, and it was actually pretty cool to see Gaucher out there again. Like you said, we didn't know about the last minute scratches, so it's kind of interesting to see him out there and get a little bit more playing time, especially since we didn't know Crawford was out and stuff like that. But even with his one goal, the offense, I don't know, the best way I could describe it when I was watching it was just it was almost sloppy, I guess, is the best way I can put it. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, the passes weren't really that crisp. The shots that we were getting didn't really seem to be quality. So yeah, I'd agree. It did feel a bit sloppier than what we probably would have seen had we had our full complement of players out there.
Well, and not only that, but there was one play I remember. I can't remember if it was in the first or the second, but they almost try to get a. You can be flashy with your passes and your shots and everything, but they almost got too flashy, and they tried to do like a behind the back pass, and it just like flew over the
Oh
guy's
yeah.
head.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't even remember who that was, but it's stuff like that. Like you can be flashy, but at the same time, you need to be consistent and you need to be, you know, uh, in the game for that. So the first quarter, honestly, just wasn't put together very well for us. I mean, we ended the quarter down 4-1, and then yeah, so the second quarter, it seemed like we had maybe started getting on the right track a little bit. Um, we gave up an early goal in the second, but Gaucher and Dodds both got goals to make it close. I mean, that was what 5-3 at that point. So he was like, okay, we're within striking distance. But yeah, it's almost like we got close, and then we kind of, metaphorically speaking, dropped the ball again. And, the Seals went on another 3-0 run after we scored those two goals. So it's kind of disheartening to see, okay, well, we think we're getting back into it, fighting back a little bit, and then give up three goals again to go down like that.
Yeah, if anything, the second quarter was pretty indicative of the kind of offensive firepower that San Diego had. Dan Dobby, he had 2 goals. Wesley Berg had 2 goals. He's normally known as the setup man too, so for him to get in on the action did wonders for them. So after that first quarter, Nick Damude gave up more goals than he would like. Second quarter, I'd say, was probably more of the same, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we kind of expected this was from San Diego. I mean, they obviously made enough moves in the offseason to be a good offensive powerhouse, and we've seen that throughout the year. I mean, obviously the last few games it's a little bit more hard-fought offense and maybe not like high-powered, high-scoring offense, but still you have to keep track of pretty much everybody on the field at any given time.
Right.
And so it was very apparent that they were kind of, I don't want to say out shooting us, but they were out shooting us in the first half for sure. So we go into halftime, kind of down on Panther City, I guess, a little bit. We were down 9-4, so 5 goals. It's like, yeah, we can come back from that, but as we said before, it gets harder the more points it is, especially in a game like this. In fact, even on Facebook, we'll give a shout out to Chris Becken. He actually even commented at halftime. He's like, our defense is looking really soft right now. If we want to win, we got to grit our teeth and get after the Seals. First of all, thanks for the comment, Chris. I mean, yeah, what are your thoughts about that in the first half?
Chris was absolutely right. There was just a lot of sloppiness. I'll go to it in a little bit more detail during our stats segment. But yeah, it just seemed like San Diego was getting every loose ball. Their goalie, props to them for making that substitution midway through the season so far. Chris O, I'm gonna mispronounce it. Chris O. We'll just call him that.
Chris O.
He was really locked in, and we weren't really doing ourselves any favors. Like, again, the quality of shots that we are able to generate just weren't that great. Yes, we scored a few, but a lot of those were kind of not not the best percentage, and we just got kind of lucky with some of them. So yeah, definitely needed to settle down, both offensively and defensively, for us to have a chance.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that about like the not the best chances as far as like the shots that we were taking. I think there was one shot that they shot, and it was just like a weird angle, and honestly I didn't think it was going to go in, but it like snuck by the goalie. So you would have hoped for better production, especially out of offense, to keep it kind of close with San Diego. But yeah, so going into halftime, down 9-4. But the third quarter, I think, again, it showed that Panther City is able to kind of make those changes and make those corrections sometimes. And they came out really good in the third quarter. I mean, the first 11 minutes of the third quarter, we didn't give up a single goal. And during that time, Grennan and Gaucher both got goals. Actually, again, making it feel like, okay, hey, we're getting in a good rhythm now. let's see if we can get back in this game. And then especially even after that, because even with Grinnan and Gaucher getting those goals, I honestly felt like Gaucher was kind of, and I think I even mentioned this to you when we were watching the game. Gaucher was kind of the odd man out the last week, maybe so. Yeah, last week for sure, with Fox and Crawford coming in. But it was good to see him back on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And he probably was getting squeezed a little for minutes just with all the new additions. He's not playing the major minutes like Donville's playing right off the bat as a rookie. So just to see him get in there and show us what he could do was really good. I was pleasantly surprised on how well we did on the power play, considering that we're missing Phil Caputo, who's one of the key members of that team. So yeah, hats off to Matthew Gaucher for helping us cut into the deficit.
Yeah, and I really do hope he gets in a good percentage of minutes into the rest of the year, especially rotating everybody out. But yeah, I mean it was good to see that back and forth, trying to keep it close, and then we kind of gave up a goal, and then we get one back, but we kept it pretty close. Into the third, we were only down 10-7, and again in the fourth quarter. I mean, I thought we played really good. It really kind of, like we talked about before, showed that it was a tale of two halves. The second half, we played, I think, a lot better. And, 4 minutes into the fourth, Fox finally gets his first goal with Panther
Yeah,
City.
yeah, it was a good one. He did it. He did one of those little cradle fakes right in front of Chris O, and then was able to sling it in there. So congratulations, Jake Fox.
Right. Kind of a welcome to Panther City, moment for him. So I was glad to see him get his first goal with the team. Again, kind of really kept it close and even pulled within. I think we pulled within one at one point. It was like 10-9,
Yeah.
and yeah, and so we thought to ourselves, okay, hey, this is good. At least we're getting back, and we're getting back, close to this game. But unfortunately, San Diego did get another goal. That was 11-9. I think we got a goal back, kept it within one, and with about a minute left, which we're gonna have to talk about this for a second. Uh, with a minute left, they pulled Daymud, hoping for a 6-on-5 advantage. Unfortunately, it did not go our way, and San Diego ended up scoring an empty net goal from across the field.
Yeah,
You had mentioned, like, you know does a 6-5 advantage really give you that much of advantage, or is it? Yeah, I don't know.
well, my own my own opinion, I don't think I would do that if there was only one goal difference. I'd be more inclined to do that if there was more of a more of a deficit and you're really grasping for straws. 10-11 with a minute left. I can see why Coach DK would go that direction. Of course, you got to be really executing well in order to get a shot off. So,
Well, and I think we had seen throughout this game that on power plays we were actually doing really good, and in
yeah.
fact, we had gotten a lot of our scores off of a couple different power plays. So maybe he was thinking to himself, okay, well, if we have that one man advantage, maybe we have a better chance. But at the same time, a goal like that where it's an empty net goal kind of shows you, okay, well, I don't know, maybe that wasn't the best idea. Because 5-on-5, I still feel like you still have a good chance, especially if you can get your offense doing what they need to do.
Right. Yeah, 6-on-5 with 1 to 2 minutes left, but no goalie. I don't know that I'd consider that worth the. That's quite a gamble to make.
Yeah. So, and you do see a lot of teams do that a lot. I mean, you'd see them pull the goalie with a minute left or a
Mhm.
minute and a half left. But like you said, it's usually when there's multiple goals down, or they have a good feeling that they have a better advantage with it. Which I guess we had an idea that we could do it, but I don't know. Uh, it, I hope it's a trend that doesn't stick around for too long. I guess it all just depends on how much you trust your offense when it's 5-on-5.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended the game unfortunately with a loss. San Diego 12-10. We were unfortunately both hoping for upsets. It didn't happen, but it was weird. Like this game had everything that has happened so far this year. We were down, and defense wasn't playing good, but then we came back and made it close, and then it's kind of encompassing of the year so far. Where yeah, if we get down, it's hard for us to get back out, and that's why I was hoping that we might have you know turned the page on that with our Philadelphia game, but unfortunately, this kind of set us back to where we were before.
Yeah, it was more reminiscent of I think the first game we went to together this season, or my yeah, the
Colorado.
first the Colorado Mammoth one where we cut it to the deficit to two in the fourth quarter, but just couldn't get over that hump and ran out of time. Granted, San Diego is widely considered they showed why they're the best team in the West right now, and show they showed Panther City that basically what the target is, what we're aspiring to be, because they've got an offense that's really clicking right now. They made that goalie change, so their defense is pretty much elite as well. So if we can, it's a long season. We still got time.
And we still have a few games against them, I believe, in the rest of the year. So hopefully we
Yes.
can kind of get back into it more. But yeah, I mean, takeaways from this game as far as like, I was very glad to see them come back in the second half. It really kind of gave me some good ideas as far as the team itself being able to come back like that. We definitely do though need to get off to better starts. I think
Yes.
that's the trend that needs to end sooner rather than later. But yeah, so this road stretch of 5 games, we ended up going 2-3, which I believe was actually your guess before they went out there. You're like, if we at least get 2 wins, that'll be nice. I was a little bit more optimistic. I was hoping for a 3-2 record, but you wish it would have came out better, and we wish we would have got the upset and moved up those standings. But hey, it's a hard fought game against San Diego because they're, like you said, the best team in the West right now. Well, we go straight from that. Of course, it is time for Mr. Andrews' stats of the game. Mr. Andrew, what stats do you have for us on this game?
I've got a couple that really stuck out. So I managed to take a picture of the first half stats between the two teams. And we were pretty close on block shots, just one down on faceoffs, but there was a huge discrepancy on loose balls. San Diego was able to scoop up 41 and we only had 22. And loose balls is as indicative a stat as any of effort. Yeah, there might be some luck involved, but San Diego just simply wanted it more in the first half. And we obviously improved on that in the second half to where we finished the game with 60 loose balls to San Diego's 80, which essentially means the second half, the intensity level is more or less even, since we didn't really gain any ground on them. Yeah. So they made that adjustment, but it really shows how if you get off to slow starts, it can really bite you later on. We also surprisingly won over 50% of faceoffs. That being said, we did lose this game, and there were a few faceoffs. I know there was at least one where Burton won it, and you would have thought we had a transition opportunity, but unfortunately he kind of got sandwiched by 3 guys and lost the ball. So I know there's a big debate over, like, do faceoffs really matter? Like, how much do they help your transition game and whatnot? So it's a step in the right direction, I think, because extra possessions are always good. You just got to be careful with the ball once you get it on your end.
Well, and yeah, it was an issue earlier on in the season, and it's good to see that they are improving in that area. So hopefully that's something we can continue to improve on as the season goes on. Well, awesome. Thank you for those stats of the game. Well, now it's time we go ahead and talk about our cool cat plays of the game. For me, I mean, there was a couple of good ones. I would definitely say, honestly, Gaucher's last goal for his hat trick was really cool. It was kind of like, he was right in the pocket, and he just he didn't juke the guy as bad as as bad as Will Malcolm did, but gave him enough of a shake that he changed his position, shot it into the goal, and again, seeing Gaucher out there getting a hat trick at least, being a good part of the team. I think that was definitely my play of the game for this one. What about for you?
I had a couple. Both of them second half. Well, that probably goes without saying.
Right.
But to about 5 minutes into the third quarter, Nathan Grennan had a shorty goal, basically we were down. I think we only had four guys on the field
Hmm.
at that point, and yeah, he had one. It was almost sort of like the I don't remember who got the assist. It was either Farrell or Medeiros, and it was I don't know if you'd call it a drag screen, but it basically opened up the lane for Grennan to get a really nice shot on goal. So it's pretty impressive to be able to do that a man down because
Hmm.
it shows that the execution and effort level was there, and that's the sort of goal that we needed to stop the bleeding that had started in the first half. My second goal, we already went over a little bit. Jake Fox's goal, his first one in a Panther City uniform. And that one was important, not just to get his confidence up going forward, but because it cut the deficit to one and really gave us a good chance to try to come back.
Yeah, and hopefully the more Fox gets, used to this offense, you'll see him become more of a scorer on the offensive side. Well, awesome. That's our cool cat plays of the game. Now, of course, we have to talk about our big cat player of the game. Um, I think we both have the same idea here because, as with my cool cat play of the game, my big cat player of the game, of course, is Matthew Gaucher. I said before he was the odd man out last game, and he had really shown to become a good part of the team and a good part of the offense early on in the season, getting a good rotation with the team, and to see him back out there, I thought was very nice and very refreshing to see, get him into the swing of things again. But yes, Matthew Gaucher, I believe he had what four goals.
Yes, yeah. So he led the. He is my big cat player of the game as well.
There you
Like,
go.
yeah, and like you alluded to, he led the team with a career high 4 goals. That was really important on a night when San Diego really shut Will Malcolm and Jonathan Donville down, as at least as far as scoring goals goes. And of course, with Phil Caputo and Callum Crawford missing, those points had to come from somewhere. And Gaucher really stepped up. Not only that, but he led the team and caused turnovers as well. So I'm not too sure what the half or quarter breakdown is on that. I wouldn't be surprised if they occurred in the second half. So that means he was helping the team get second shot opportunities and rebounds.
Well, and again, being a rookie like that, like you said before, he's not getting as many minutes as like Donville and stuff like that, but he's making those minutes count, and that's
Yes.
that's what's important. So, as we leave this game, what final thoughts on our game against San Diego? For me, again, it was bad to see the first half. I was glad to see the second half.
Yeah.
I think it's something we can learn from and grow from. I mean, obviously, that's something you do in every game. But, learning after the fact that we had some key pieces missing and still were able to keep it close and keep it, where we had a chance late in the game to maybe even tie it up. Uh, that's really encouraging for me. That means even on San Diego's best day, with a team like ours that's still trying to get used to each other with some new pieces and having key pieces out, we stood a chance, and that's encouraging for me.
Yeah, echoing everything you said, it was a disappointing loss, but it was great to see them come back. It's one thing about Coach TK. He seems very, really good at making in-game adjustments, whether it be at the half, whether it be at quarters. In this game, certainly at the half and going into the fourth. But yeah, it was impressive. It was nice to see. I didn't mention this in my stats, but Damude, for the 9 goals that he gave up in the first half, he actually ended up with a better save percentage than Oglieri did. So he really had a pretty dominant second half where he only allowed 2 goals because the third one was on an empty net. So can't count that one towards him. So if he can play that way for a whole 60 minutes or less than that so that Cam McLeod can go in and give him some relief time, that'd be really good to see.
Right, and I can't remember when we do go against San Diego next. I think it's probably in 2 or 3 weeks.
March 24th.
Oh, March 24th.
Oh,
There.
well, I should say that's the home game we
Oh,
have
okay.
against them. We might play them in San Diego one more time.
Well, I think the next game against them. I mean, again, I know we hoped for an upset this time, but I think definitely next time we'll be better in position. But yes, we leave we leave San Diego in the background in the dust, and look forward to this weekend where finally, Panther City is back home, and they actually get a good homecoming game. Well, I mean, obviously not an official homecoming game, but a good game nonetheless, as they take on the Vancouver Warriors, who just, what, 2 weeks ago we were able to, put 20 points on. So
Yes.
I think this is a game that honestly I think Panther City is looking forward to. Not only coming home, but going against a team that I feel like they feel comfortable going against and can, work on stuff, especially in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they only scored 7 on us when they had Mitch Jones, and now that they've traded him away, we really should take full advantage, I think, in front of the home crowd, get everyone pumped up early. So I don't know if it'll necessarily be a blowout just because of the way Vancouver plays. It seems like they do tend to have the lead at some point, and they just kind of falter down the stretch.
Yeah, so Vancouver, in their last game was up, I believe it was like 6 to something. It was like 6-4 or 6-5 at halftime, and they allowed 1 point. They didn't score any in the third, and allowed 1 point in the third to tie it up. And then it's like the fourth quarter. I think it was against Saskatchewan.
Yes.
In the fourth quarter, they allowed 8 goals or something like that, and just decided, hey, you know what? Well, we don't want to win anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking at the box score of that one against Saskatchewan now. Yeah, that fourth quarter, it's like nothing but the Rush logo
Right.
on the game log.
And again, that's something that Vancouver has had against them all year. We talked about it when they went against Panther City and when it happened against Las Vegas. So obviously I want a game that's similar to what we saw when we went to Vancouver. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's another game where it's close, maybe into the second quarter or even after halftime, and then we can hopefully, kind of pull away in the second half. But yes, I'm very glad that they are going to be back at a home game. We hope to see everybody out there. I mean, looking at this game, what are your expectations for our game against Vancouver? I mean, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are your overall expectations, or what do you hope for?
I'm expecting a not exactly a blowout, but not exactly a close game. I think Vancouver, they're going to try hard, but I just don't think their team is to the point where they can really consistently play well for 4 quarters. You could make the same argument for us, but we'll at least have the home advantage.
Vancouver, unfortunately, like I said, with their trade away some of their key players, they're still. I feel like they're just kind of in limbo right now.
Hmm.
They're missing an identity, and so as such a team, and especially since I've seen this in other sports with other teams who are in similar positions, you do kind of expect, okay, well, we'll probably go into the games, maybe we'll keep it close, but you're not expecting a whole lot. And so I hope we can kind of take advantage of that. And like you said, maybe not a complete blowout, but be able to pull away, obviously, later on in the game and get a good win with this one. I mean, for me, for sure, I just want to see I kind of want to see the whole team. I want to see if Crawford is back. I want to see Fox in there. I want to see if Caputo's in there. Like, I want to see that offense as a whole and see what they can do and see how they're going to try to incorporate that going forward into the year, because I think it could be one of the best offenses out there. It's just it hasn't been together yet.
Right. Hmm.
So yeah, hopefully everybody gets some good playing time. Hopefully there's no odd man out this time around, and we don't feel like we're missing anybody. Predictions for this game? I mean, I'm gonna go with the win. I think Vancouver still is kind of a mess right now, so I don't think we're gonna put 20 on them again. Although that would be fun to watch. I would probably guess probably 16-9. That's my guess.
That's the exact same score I had in mind.
16-9. Yeah, I mean, it's got a good space in there.
Yeah. Yeah, the same thing on my end. Vancouver's still really finding their identity. They might, well, we're at the halfway point and they've only won one. With how competitive the West is, maybe they'll see their playoff chances as pretty slim at this point. So for them, it might just be more about gaining experience. Whereas we're really trying to nail down team chemistry going into the stretch where we can make a push for the playoffs in just our second season. I mean, to come back home after eight games, 6 of which have been on the road, and split them going 4-4 is a pretty impressive feat. So yeah, I'm expecting a win by the same margin as you said.
Yeah, as I hope with every game, I hope it's just a good, fun, entertaining game. Obviously, I hope we get away with the win. But well, as we talk about this game at home, just don't forget that it is Youth Lacrosse Night. For those listening, if you do bring, I believe it's any lacrosse stick used or new, they donate it to the Youth Lacrosse League and help out with that. So it's a good cause. If you can, try to bring something out there. But again, I really hope that this homecoming gets a good crowd, gets kind of everybody excited for Panther City to be back in town. But yeah, it's really good to be back home, and I'm glad we'll be able to go to a game this weekend finally.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we had hoped to come into this weekend's home game with a win, but even without it, there's a lot of work and growth left in the year. We're almost to the halfway point, so hey, still a lot of games to be played. But we want to just thank you guys once again for listening. This is Cowtown Cats Lacrosse Podcast. I am Nicholas.
And I am Andy.
And we'll see you next time.
Have a good week, y'all.